Taking forward its objectives, the Training and Placement Cell of SCLC is elated to announce the introduction of its first version of mentorship program academic year 2021-22. The mentorship program is aimed at providing the students guidance from the industry resource persons who excel in their respective fields. Mentors from various segments of the industry are invited for the program and will be guiding the students for the next 3 months. I now request our today's chief guest, Suhas Tuljapurkar sir, to launch the mentorship program officially. We, as the students, look forward to the mentorship program and are excited to be a part of it. Thank you so much, sir, again.
Now it's time to get enlightened with the words of wisdom and experience of our today's chief guest, Advocate Suhas Tuljapurkar sir. Sir, I request you to deliver the inaugural address.
Sorry, yeah, sure. Thank you. Thank you, everybody on the dais. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thanks a lot, sir. Thank you, Bhavna, ma'am. Thanks a lot, Amit, you, my friend. Good morning, everybody, and thank you very much for giving us this opportunity to share with you few of our experiences. I don't think we have halo behind our head to give you any wisdom. We have no wisdom to share with you. I must be frank about it. And realize that the first thing that one should realize as a law student is that except for Sant Jnaneshwar, there was nobody with a halo behind his or her head. It's okay. So demystify law is the first principle that I'm going to kind of articulate. However, before we go there, I just wanted to kind of look at the theme that's propagated today. And this comes as a methodology, even in the corporate sector, even in any project. This started off as a theme when I think Martin Luther King Jr. said that if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl, but move forward. Don't stop. After that, I think it was US Army that first undertook this as a methodology or an approach to train their people to say that we want to make sure that you do this right. In a sense, it's step by step where you try and achieve perfection at the end of it. So that one of the steps that's missing, and I don't know whether it's deliberately missing or otherwise, is actually crawl, walk, run, and fly. Now, there are certain flaws in this, and I think the flaws are coming to the forefront as we speak in today's world. And the flaws are in the nature today. You're saying, if I want to learn to crawl first, then to walk, then to run, and then to fly, there's someone else, my competition, is going to overtake me very soon. And that competition who is walking and I'm trying to learn to walk, someone else is already running. Now, the methodology that was there to say that you need perfection in army, you need to make sure that armed units or defense forces are dealing with lives of the people, and therefore you need that perfection, and therefore you need to go through crawl, walk, run before you actually fly. That methodology is under challenge, especially under today's circumstances, for a simple reason that if you start looking at what's happening in the world at any given point in time, while we are speaking here, please realize how much amount of data is moving. every minute of the day or night. And I just want you to, I don't know if this is visible. I just want you to, look at this slide. Please go on Domo infographics, and you will realize the phenomenal amount of data that moves every minute of the day or night. There are, as this says, almost about 5.4 billion internet users today. And the amount of data that, and I'm going to read this because I can't remember this, it says 65% of the world population today is where internet reaches, which is 10% increase over January. Between January to July, there is a 10% increase in the population. You can imagine the impact that COVID had in the digital space. You see, of this, 92.6% access their internet through mobile. That's another data point there. Again, the total amount of data that's consumed globally in 2021 was 79 zettabytes. And I know Bhavna ma'am would get into what is a zettabyte. And that's likely to go from 79 zettabytes to 180 zettabytes in 2025. If you look at this slide very carefully, you will realize, you see, while, I'm just going to kind of look at some of the statistics there. 5.7 million searches. 5.7 million would be almost about 57 lakh searches happening on Google every minute of the day or night. Can you imagine the kind of data that's moving through this space, through the internet? And it's probably completely, internet as principle started off by saying that it would be deregulated, it would not be regulated. I know, and I'm sure, again, I'm going to refer back to Bhavna ma'am, there is an attempt all the time to say that we must regulate. What are the laws that would apply to this space? we learned how to do a research properly. And every senior counsel, every advocate had one or two juniors who were dedicated to conducting research on a legal proposition that was on the table for that lawyer. That is completely overtaken today by databases that are available. So the jobs for legal researchers who actually were trying to be very proficient in researching the law and finding out through AR manuals or SCC reports as to which is the exact judgment of the Supreme Court or the High Court that would apply to the legal proposition, that's now completely overtaken by machines. Is the digital database that does these searches seamlessly. When we are moving ahead in terms of the paradigm, and this has started way back and it's getting developed, at one hand that's happening. On the other hand, what's happening is we're talking about artificial intelligence, we're talking about IoT. This is the data that moves from a person to person. Now look at it, when we talk about IoT, persons are not there. Machines are going to talk to each other. It's the Internet of Things. When two machines are going to talk to each other directly without human intervention, you can understand the kind of explosion or implosion of the data that's going to happen when machines start talking to each other. And that's the IoT experiment. So on one hand, we have the simplistic formula or simplistic technological processes to say that we will digitize the databases so that the searches become simple. On the other hand and paradigm, we have artificial intelligence and IoT that's coming into the legal field. And that's the reality. In this process, what one needs to understand, and this is where we've realized, and that's where I would want to say that, when you talk about the theme, which is crawl, walk, run, and fly, if you remain at the data level, which is the first preliminary level of those databases or data level, I think that's not lawyering when you're looking at data and when you're doing searches at the database level. Data needs to move to information. And what's an information? Data is available there, but what is out of that data that will apply to a particular case? The applicability analysis built into the thought process ought to be the first level to move that data to information level. Now, information is available with everybody. We've seen a lot of budding lawyers just come in to say that no, based on Google searches, they will do the search and they will present and they will articulate. If you actually look at analyzing that, Google is not the law. And therefore, what we are looking at, and I think Atul sir will kind of understand this much better, Atul, Amit, who are in the corporate sector, you see, that's not what they are looking forward to in terms of input from a lawyer. That anybody, even a junior person in an in-house department in a company would be able to give you the same result in terms of information that comes out from these databases, which could also be applicable to you. Now, here is the challenge for all of us. That information needs to move to the next paradigm, which is actually knowledge. So, you look at data, move to information, move to knowledge. Education system in terms of looking at IRAC principles of legal terminologies and legal thesaurus to be that not merely reading grammatical. And go somewhere in Himalaya to sit. I mean, that's beyond the knowledge and knowledge application that we'll talk about. But when we look at knowledge, even today, I think the world has moved to knowledge. It's important to look at knowledge applications are becoming predominantly in the forefront of whatever is happening in the legal tech space today. When you say apps, apps are application of information technology, applications of data applied to something which is your end use. And those apps, and therefore knowledge app, is becoming more and more critical in the legal field today. At the international level, you look at international law tech associations, or you look at those lawyers who are coming to the forefront. All of you should read on Mr. Richard Susskind on Future of Law. He propagates two things. There is death of a lawyer, and future of law is totally different than what even we can imagine. Knowledge application is the level where we need to work. Now, for us, your students, and you're going to move towards get into the profession. It's at that point in time, how do you refine knowledge and knowledge application on the practical side of things? Theory is something which I'm sure you're learning and you will understand. But that knowledge application space is where you ought to be. It's at that point in time you use technology. Just to give you a simple example, we work across almost about 1,600 companies of India. We provide them support and through a software solution called Legasis that takes care of compliances under all laws. All laws would include right from Gram Panchayat law to maybe US FCPA, UK Bribery Act, or whichever are the global laws, including Dodd-Frank Act, whatever. Today constitutes 1,700 in terms of 350,000 tasks. And we map this across through a software, and we engage with our clients across 60 jurisdictions of the world. Started doing was, when we looked at data, we looked at that task database. We moved it to information, we do applicability analysis at the click of the button. I know if you have a factory in Bhubaneswar in the manufacturing sector, at click of the button, the knowledge paradigm to say why you are complying, what is the letter and the spirit of law behind which that compliance item needs to be correctly performed by the client there. So that we are moving towards the knowledge space there. Now we are bringing in technologies there. At the task level, we bring in risk coefficient to say that if a non-compliance, consequence of non-compliance results into imprisonment of a director, or it affects your business continuity, such as cancelling your licenses, registration, or it is a reputational damage where you have to disclose the non-compliance to a regulatory body, it's at that point in time we bring in risk coefficient. Again, through technology, that risk coefficient is attached to every task, and we're trying to make life easier on the risk paradigm of compliance domains. We bring in IoT. Now, here is the challenge on AI that I'm throwing open. See, AI is getting developed on open source today. And if you actually look at the strongest AI, and almost all AIs are weak in the world. Am I right, Bhana ma'am? All AIs are weak. Strongest out of them will actually have its strength from the data and the amount of data that goes into that particular application, which is using artificial intelligence. It's there that, getting that data moved into artificial intelligence is where, even at a student level, you will be able to look at ensuring that the AIs become stronger by moving as much data as possible into the artificial intelligence systems in the legal and legal tech space. So it's not that you need to be a seasoned lawyer to do that, because seasoned lawyers will set the laws which will allow the coders to make the codes correctly. Therefore, I'm saying you can contribute even from today onwards to say that we will make the legal tech space interesting, and we will kind of take that opportunity of refining ourselves on the knowledge application so that we are ready to fly. We don't have to demonstrate that we can crawl. You can actually start flying if your knowledge application paradigm is perfected at one level, that when you start, you know you're not going wrong and there is 100% accuracy that comes in your legal thought process. With that, I mean, I would want to kind of wish you all the very best. Wish everybody on the occasion of World Earth Day today, let's kind of commit ourselves and take that pledge that fine, even if we do one deed or one act today to, let's say, shun the plastic away, that would be a great contribution to this Mother Earth. Thank you very much for patiently listening to me. It was a pleasure and it's a privilege to be here. Thank you.
We are truly honored today to receive the words of wisdom from Advocate Suhas sir. Thank you, sir, for this inspirational and intellectual delight.
Now we are eager to